Shook is a big Lee Sin player. I'm not sure why all of a sudden you're going to ban that Zac out. Obviously, could mean that we're going to see a composition coming out here of KMT that says Zac breaks that composition, basically. So that's why they're going to ban that one out, but we will be seeing the Lee Sin in the lineup. I'm not sold on Teemo.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to get locked in. I'm trying to think what they want to go for with that Zac ban, but there's so many champions still up. There's Shen, there's Thresh available, or Renekton for Xaxus if you just want to pick that one.
Well, Xaxus, we've seen it already how good as Renekton can be, and didn't quite have the impact I think that they would have hoped for in that last game with that Nasus Renekton combo, but it looks like they are going to be picking up this Vayne once again for Celiva.
And you heard their manager fly, he said they have something special to bring to this game, and
that's not Teemo though.
Oh yeah, it's not Teemo. Maybe. It could be support Teemo or something like that, but they haven't really shown it just yet. It's the same place that they've been able to use last time, and they gave Shen, they gave Thresh over to the Wolves, and that's really unfortunate, but if that York did potentially get locked in, maybe we'd see a top lane and like Renekton jungle or something like that, or maybe a support York, which you haven't seen in a very long time.
Supporic is in fact the correct term for that one. We'll see about that though, whether that comes down for KMT and whether that's the whole special tactic that Fly talked about there in terms of KMT here for game number 2. And we know how well a Yorick does when paired with a hyper carry like that Vayne. Karma as well being hovered over by KMT.
Oh man, I actually thought they were going to lock that in for a second, but they do go with the Yorick, so I'm looking at it right now and thinking, so where's Renekton, where's York going to go? I mean, we could obviously have the AD carry support middle, and then the 2 solo laners that way, but right now they're very heavy AD, and that would mean obviously Overpower would be playing an AD champion, but I mean, obviously this last pick's going to kind of round it out what exactly they're going to go for, and right now, I'm not sure what they're doing.
Well, what's Reckless going to go for? Looks like he's fancying that Twitch once again. We've seen obviously a lot of Tristana coming out of him as well, which I like Tristana in that sense as well as the escape. That's always a big factor with Tristana. Plus the ultimate, of course, able to blow everyone away from you that could be coming in for that chase, which, you know, kill Vayne once, let Yorick ulti and then just rocket jump away. Would have been a nice thing to have in my opinion, but Reckless is Reckless, and I'm definitely not going to challenge this guy when it comes to his picks. We may just see another Kassadin coming down for the Copenhagen Wolves again, which is pretty much the exact combo that we saw from last time around coming in here. Yeah,
and we're seeing exactly the same picks, minus that Lee Sin, obviously, that was over on a Jarvan last game. And still very aggressive jungler. Lee Sin, he's very aggressive early on. He needs that strong start, and right now KMT, if they do jungle a Renekton or a York, if they decide to, they're not really aggressive, really. They don't really offer too much in these ganks, so I think we're most likely going to see a jungler as the last pick here, or at least I would imagine so, because Renekton and York, they don't jungle too well.
Well, let's find out with that one. KMT, we've heard, I've got something special lined up for this one. They certainly need it. 1-0 behind right now in this best of 3, and well, if they lose this next one, of course, then it would be all over them, all over for them. Currently sat on an Orianna here for the final pick, which would then end up going over towards Overpower, which means that we would see either Renekton or Yorick in the jungle.
I think it would be Yorick. Because if you think about Elise, she used to use her Spider to tank up all the jungle mobs as much as possible, so you can tank it. And with a Yorick, you have your own ghouls you can put down. Obviously, they can't take it as long, but they can take a hit or two here or there, and it makes you somewhat healthy coming out of the jungle. So we're going to see how this is going to work out for him, though, and exactly who will be in the jungle.
Well, we're going to find out here. One thing's for sure, though, the Copenhagen Wolves in the driving seat in this game, on game point right now, on LCS promotion point almost, you know. Obviously, they will get that spot into the spring promotion tournament if they win this matchup. So everything on the line for him. It looks like it will be that Yorick in the jungle as well.
You know, I'm looking at these two compositions, and right now, the Wolves have such a snowbally team. And currently they're still sitting with Youngbuk on Lee Sin potentially in the top lane, but I mean, if he's in top, if he's in jungle, if he gets an early start, if Cass and Twitch get an early start, they can just really get the game going. They can really take control, and KMT, they still kind of went for that late game composition, and they have decent protection for Vayne, but how well is a York really going to interact? I mean, he's usually mostly just for his ultimate. He doesn't do too much in fights. He usually has a safe lane because you can heal up, obviously, but we'll see how it's going to go.
We'll find out here in just a second as we get towards the game, and really interesting. I can tell you we have seen a last second switch, so it is going to be Shen in that top lane with Youngbuk, who picked up 2 or 3 double kills during that last game, which I'm sure Coutard will have really wanted a bit of a piece of. You know, a double kill to him might have helped things go a little bit quicker, but as we get into this one, we'll see if things change on that front. So we are going to see Shook on the Lee Sin in the jungle, Youngbuk playing Shen up top.
And we are going to see Coutard with the teleport again. he didn't use it too much last game, but when he did use it, he picked up kills from it. And it was just fantastically well done. I mean, you still have that threat of him late game, which you honestly really didn't need him to split push because you had Youngbuck who was like 7-1 at that point in the game, and he's going to be able to use it hopefully very wisely yet again. And Kasten versus Orianna, obviously going to have a very tough time early on, but if you think about it, once he hits level 6, he can jump on her and still escape without being hit.
Well, we're going to get into again and figure out how this one is all going to go down. It's game number 2 of KMT versus the Copenhagen Wolves. The Wolves 1-0 up here in this best of 3 and need just one of the remaining 2 games of the series to go through to that spring promotion qualifier.
And right now, I'm trying to think of any possible level 1 action. Obviously, we have that hook taunt out of the Wolves if they do want to go for it, which honestly, I think they might be able to, but right now, KMT, they have a ball on their side. They have that ability to scout without actually going into these bushes, so I'm assuming they're going to be fairly safe, and they're actually already warding up defensively right now just to protect their buffs.
So let's see what we're going to see at level 1. Copenhagen Wolves right now have gone over the top of a ward already there, so their position has already been revealed, so KMT know exactly where that early ward has gone down. Actually, the ward is pretty much directly on top of it, so they've got full vision of that here, KMT. What are the Wolves going to do on the top side of the map? And I don't expect too many risky plays out of either side in this one. I mean, for Copenhagen Wolves, they've got that lead. Do they really need to play risky right now? They're probably thinking, no, we don't. KMT, a bit more on the line for them here. They've already gone with that Yorick in the jungle, not something that we see often at all. And that may be an ace. That may also be a flop.
Yeah, and only time will tell us. And right now, we see 760 on that Yorick. He went for a Doran's Blade as his first item instead of that Hunter's Machete. And one thing about Yorick is, which I've done so many times in lane, if you actually show up with a Doran's Blade instead of like a Sapphire Crystal or Fairy Charm, you do an insane amount of damage, and he's going to be able to apply early pressure, but he doesn't have any hard CC. All he really has is that slow, so either lane he's going to visit, which currently doesn't really have any lane for that strong CC to lock him down, unless we see maybe a Condemn come out, but he should at least put out a little bit of harass onto lanes.
So one thing that we heard in the pre-game before we started off with anything was that Coutard, on the other side, the Overpower is going to be a big target here for the Copenhagen Wolves, and I'm wondering if KMT are going to have that Yorick babysit him a little bit, because on the other side, you know, you got the Shen who should be pretty safe from it anyway. Even with the slow coming in, he can shadow dash his way to safety. Funnily enough, we're going to be seeing a duo lane matchup here in the mid lane with the Kassadin versus Orianna down bottom, Shen versus Renekton up top.
I bet you Coutard's frustrated, like, come on, just go to lane. I don't want to have to run down a bottom every time to follow you. And they want to definitely keep these matchups going. And with that Twitch Thresh lane, if you catch a hook onto Sona, she's not going to live very long. She's very squishy early. She barely has any more health than the minions at level 1 without any runes. And so far, because of that lane swap, Coutard is actually going to be behind in levels here. So Overpower, he has that slight advantage. He has the advantage of being ranged right now, but can he use it to what he needs to do? So
a very early appearance here from Shock. Up in towards this top lane. We are going to see the taunt coming down. Xaxus is going to be in a bit of trouble here, but will simply get himself back towards his own turret, and not really that much of a problem for him. Good try, though, from the Copenhagen Wolves here on the opener. At least it applies some pressure, though, and it lets Xaxus know that you have to play careful because we're here to watch you. And right now, Super Ace taking some good damage here middle. Is Coutard getting ganked? Yeah, having to flash away there from that one. And that is already kind of dangerous for Coutard, not having that flash available, because he doesn't have that movement that he's going to get when he finally hits level 6 at this stage of the game. So that's where things can be dangerous. See Orianna there piling on that pressure underneath the turret on towards Coutard as well, and he just basically needs to stay alive until he can hit 6. And it looks like 760 sticking around a little bit. He was maybe expecting Shook to come in, maybe wanted to counter that, but instead he's forced to go back towards middle here. And so far, early CS, pretty even across the board. That's doing a better job of keeping the early game CS and hopefully be able to keep it up as the game goes on. He obviously pulled away last game when Youngbuck was teleporting around or ulting around the map. Now we'll see if that Stand United, well, it is going to come into play at some point in the game, isn't it? It always does, the Stand United. See at what point that actually happens here in this one. Kassadin was forced to go back home. Crystalline Flask handed into that Doran's shield. Got wards coming down as well, so he should be able to just chug his way through those and stay healthy on his quest to hit 6 without going down. Yeah, and one thing about Kassadin is that if you run like 21 in defense, you're pretty much guaranteed to survive the laning phase as long as you don't make like a major mistake. And right now, Shook doing a good job of holding those minions off the turret. Wants to make sure Coutard can get everything he possibly can, which right now he's down half his CS to Overpower. Yeah, that's not the best start ever, but That's what's going to happen against a champion that's got both range on the abilities and the auto attacks on you as well. That's always going to be the case there for that Kassadin struggling early on. Youngbuck here and Zaz, as we said, just as was in the last game, without any jungle presence, we shouldn't be seeing any kills go down, as Youngbuck here might be in a little bit of danger. 760 has come up towards his top side, still got that blue buff running. Here he comes into him, the Ghoul's going to go down. There's the shadow dash away. Youngbuck simply going to saunter off behind his turret and saying, no, you can't kill me just yet. The slow's not enough.
Yeah, and that's the downside. He's been to 2 ganks now, 1 top, 1 bottom, and without any real hard CC, he isn't able to make anything happen off the ganks. He applies some pressure, yeah, but all he's been able to blow was that that flash out of Cowtard, and that's, I mean, he obviously has a stun, but you see right there how quick Youngbuck can get away from it.
So look at that bottom lane and how we were talking about the fact that Cowtard had half the CS of Overpower. Overpower chose obviously not a brilliant time to be going home from this one, because he's now going to be caught up to, if not with this next wave, start to fall behind on it. So really well played here. Cowtard's timing on that recall certainly working wonders for him, and he is going to go ahead in CS after this next wave.
Yeah, he's going to pull ahead a little, actually quite far. He should not be this far ahead. Like, this is the downside of being bottom lane as Overpower. Any AP carry bottom is that the lane is a lot longer. It's really easy to be ganked, especially when you're by yourself, and without any escape mechanisms on each of them currently, you have to play very passive, and you can't really afford to do that against Cowtard early in this game.
Top lane, once again, that face bashing contest that is the Shen versus Renekton matchup. And the, well, not the best lane to watch, let's just say that, without any presence from any other champions coming in. But one thing that we should note now is that Youngbuck is level 6, so he can get involved around the map now.
And this is going to be very dangerous for KMT, but I'm trying to think, where exactly would he go at this point? And do have Shook coming down bottom. Looks like he wants to go for a gank on Overpower, so we might see the ulti come into play. Celevar gets caught with a hook here.
Yeah, but they decided not to go in for that one. I think if he'd have followed through there, that would have put him underneath the turret, and decides, you know what, can't really get with that one. And Shook here, going to chase him towards Overpower. Not quite got the range on that Q to be able to follow on in. But 760 here waiting around that mid lane. Are they going to be able to lock a Twitch Thresh up, though, that can basically just knock them straight back?
Most likely not, but I was trying to think, maybe he wants to go in for some very early turret pushing with that ultimate, but on a Vayne, depending on what he buys will actually show us the game plan. If he builds some AD here, then they're definitely going to go for some pushing, or go for that build with Cutlass, just going for some dueling, so it's not going to be affected by that. And honestly, I mean, I haven't been too impressed with the Yorick, but also haven't been too let down just yet. I'm actually surprised at how much aggression he's put out across the map.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing, he's not really done that much. Visited a couple of lanes, but not really had the impact that he would have wanted on those lanes himself. That's the good thing about him in the jungle, that those ghouls can take a lot of the damage for him, and we'll be pushing through them pretty quickly. Right now, both AD carries got that Bilgewater Cutlass in there with a Doran's Blade as well, so pretty similar statuses for both of them, but again, Reckless has built up a CS lead.
Yeah, and he's going to continue to make that stretch a little bit further unless you see KMT go middle, but in terms of items, he's building up towards a tier, so he's going towards like a standard lane Yorick build right now, doesn't have any sort of jungle item, and we're going to see how that's going to work out for him. Obviously, you can do some decent damage, but and against this team, if you don't apply any pressure, if you kind of can't get rolling early on, that means you're not going to get the farm you naturally would get in a lane by yourself.
Well, Yorick going to be starting off this blue buff, which Orianna is going to come down for. Actually, he's losing pretty much an entire wave and a half there of CS on towards that bottom turret. So already falling behind a Kassadin, which just shouldn't happen. If we're really honest about that, that just shouldn't happen.
Yeah, you're definitely right, and it's just that pressure of a Lee Sin who's so mobile, and then being alone in that bottom lane. I mean, he's bought up wards, but he needs like more than one to really hold down the entirety of that bottom side of the map. And right now we do see Youngbuck almost has that Sunfire Cape done, which makes it almost impossible for Zaz to kill him unless 760 obviously does show up. But both top laners pretty much going for the exact same build right off the bat as the first game.
Still a scoreless game at this point. No first blood coming just yet. The gold is bang on even. Slight advantage for KMT overall. We can see them ticking over a little bit quicker, and up till now, no turrets going down. So one of those games that starts off slow, but probably is going to get very, very explosive really quickly.
Yeah, especially with what we saw last game with KMT. I mean, they lost 3 people in lane in one of those fights, and then Baron started for Copenhagen Wolves, then they went into the fight against them, they lost 2 more. Like, that's the kind of explosion that we're going to end up seeing here well, in the next 10 minutes, I would imagine. As everyone, they just want to kind of get their first items built up, and so far no Dragon even being looked at just yet. And that's maybe an advantage that Yorick has, is with those ghouls you can tank a lot of damage off the Dragon, you can heal up quite a bit, and you also have your Vayne and Sona in that middle lane to come help you if you need.
So a Sightstone picked up here for Lee Sin, obviously an item which really helps Lee Sin, always having those wards at your disposal to W off to and stay safe or be aggressive from. Plus the fact that you can take a little bit of pressure off your support from having to take up that role here as well. Certainly when it comes to that Dragon area, which Sona a little bit further away from here. And we are going to see that now coming down on towards this bottom lane. Yorick was actually there at the same time, so junglers reading each other's minds there.
I think Kautar's getting a little antsy here. He just wanted to fight. You could see he was just itching to hit that R key to go into the middle of the team, and unfortunately not going to work out, but still he's farming very well. He's down 1 CS, 10.5 minutes in. He's definitely happy about that. And currently the mid lane, just as previously, well, at least with the AD carry supports, very passive so far. Not a lot of action.
Yeah, no action really from that one. We did see Yorick trying to come in there earlier, but not finding any kind of opening against this Thresh Twitch lane. Yorick, speaking of him, is headed up towards that mid lane once again. Curiously enough, not really wards down anywhere here from the Copenhagen Wolves, as we are going to see Kautar having to back away from this one. Shen actually going to use Stan United to come down, which was very, very delayed in terms of reaction, and Kautar had actually survived that one anyway, and that's going to give Zaza some free damage onto his top turret, but crucially the first blood coming in for the Wolves.
Oh, we do have a teleport coming in top lane for Kautar here, so he's going to be able to stop that push at least. And yeah, that was a little bit weird to see him use his ultimate so late, but I guess a little better safe than sorry, I guess is the phrase he's going to be going for right there. And he does have that Sunfare Cape done now, so when he goes back to lane, he's going to be able to push out a little bit further. And also that first kill for Shook, when we talked about Lee Sin, you kind of need to get something going early. You kind of maybe need a kill or a lot of farm, and with that kill, it's definitely going to help out.
Look at that Shook there, as we're going to see a fight here in middle lane. The box is actually down. Spray and pray running here, but Celiver managing to tumble away behind his turret. But look how low KMT have got just from that one engagement there, and that's the danger of this switch, and probably more importantly the Thresh, who's able to lock you up so nicely, keep you slowed and flayed back there. And again, great pressure from the Copenhagen Wolves. We're going to see Orianna actually moving back over towards this mid lane now after that first death.
Oh, but Overpower's got to be careful. Shook's waiting on the side. He does have his ultimate available. He does have wards to get over the wall, and the hook going to miss, but I don't think Overpower can survive this.
No, Shook coming in here from behind. There is the ward, there's the Q, there's the kick. Overpower going to be pressured. Great flash away though onto the race.
And that just shows that Shook, he's trying to camp Overpower. It shows the whole mindset of Wolves, as they were saying earlier on today in the video. They want to camp Overpower. They want to shut him down, and they've done a phenomenal job of doing that in both games so far.
So Kautar now pushing up that bottom lane as well. He's pretty much free to do whatever he wants there. We did see Orianna move over towards that mid lane. Again, Youngbuck and Zazas joining together in this top. Nothing going to happen there. They're actually really close in CS as well.
Just farming past each other. They don't even care. They're not even going to attack each other. It's just a waste of time. But right now, KMT, they're going to respond like they did last time with a Dragon here. But right now, Kautar's going to be able to spot it. We don't have Stan United up. We don't have Teleport available. And this should be a free Dragon for KMT. Yeah,
Kautar not going to be able to steal that one away, even dream of it. As we see the smite coming down there, that will be picked up. A solid pickup as well from KMT, and that will actually put them back in towards the lead when it comes to gold. 400 gold or so that they are now up from this one. Still no turrets going down, still only that one single kill coming out for Lee Sin, who's now has put some ability into his Sightstone double Doran's blade. So he's going to be moving around a lot quicker here and causing more problems more often.
And his ultimate's up yet again. He's been able to take his own blue buffs because of having Cassidy down at this bottom lane. They really want to go for something here middle. They really want to kill this Vayne since he doesn't have flash to escape, but we do have that crescendo to be available in the next 15 seconds for Super A's. So that would be for nothing, but right now, blue, it's up. And it looks like Wolves, they want to contest it, and they want to take it.
And they're certainly going to have a big amount of pressure there as well. 3 men there for the Copenhagen Wolves. And I think this is their blue buff. I mean, 760 moving in from the side. He's going to get hooked up. Blue is going to be taken here for Kautar. And we're going to see a fight kicking off as Shook misses the Q there over the wall. And 760 trying to get in for some damage. But in the end, the Copenhagen Wolves just going to back away. And look at that in the top lane. Zazas going very, very low to Youngbuck.
And right there at that blue, I mean, it looked very insignificant, but it was so impactful as this game is going to go. You saw Limited, he zoned out KMT as we do see the crescendo come out. It's just kind of a disengage right there, but he zoned them Limited, and because of that, they were able to get that blue on a Kautar, which is a huge win for Copenhagen.
KMT right now is so scared of Shook's Lee Sin. You see that. You see the way they're playing there, coming in with that crescendo as Vayne here. Is he going to get dove underneath the turret? Yes, he is. There goes the Lee Sin in. Celiva is going to die. Did get the Yorick ulti though, so he's still in the battle as Unlimited, taking a lot of damage, but he's still alive crucially. Shook going to go out to him, gives him that shield. Celiva chasing through, got nothing to lose, but that ultimate of Yorick's will run out there, and in the end, they're not able to pick it up. A good dive in, a solid dive from the Wolves.
And as you can see right there, scared for good reason. I mean,
yeah.
1-0-1 now on Lee Sin, 70 CS, and they're applying heavy pressure on this middle lane. I'm pretty sure they can just take this turret. Counter has that blue to keep regenerating his mana, and Reckless has that stealth. Here they go.
Here we go, Coutard, he's going to get the Shen coming in on top of him, and well, in the end, the shockwave coming down here, but honestly, there's just no damage to it whatsoever. Youngbuck, I think he got cancelled there up in the top side. I think Renekton stunned him to stop him actually getting involved down in that mid lane for the fight, but we just saw the turret going down, the shockwave was less than impactful.
Yeah, I mean, that's the downside to not really getting a strong start on Orianna, but you can't counter out just yet. Obviously, as this game goes on, it's become very strong, and hate to keep going back to it, but the Sun Promotion Tournament, think of Lord with that shockwave you pulled out, pretty much getting them into the entirety of LCS, and that still can happen for this game. KMT still has a strong late game team.
Which they did in the last one, but the early game was where it really started to cost them. This time around, though, they're definitely closer when it comes to the gold and, you know, how this game is going for them so far. But once things start to fall against them, that's when it starts to get dangerous, because the Copenhagen Wolves will grab that minutest of leads and turn it into a victory. Right now, Lee Sin coming up towards his top lane. They fancy go at Xaxus, but they need to be careful that Yorick just waiting here off towards the side. If the Q lands, which it does there, Shook actually just spots Yorick and says, well, actually, do I really want to dive into him there while that Yorick's there to slow me under the turret? Probably not. Decides against it.
And Xaxus, he does have that ultimate up, so he'll be able to at least survive against the initial burst, but he's going to back away, and now Copenhagen Wolves can think about diving 760 here.
Yeah, funny how it works out sometimes. 760 comes to actually help him survive that one, and he might be the one that actually pays for it in the end. Shook and Youngbuck moving in. We're going to see Thresh coming around from the side of this one as well. Is he going to be able to get the hook in there? Super Ace is coming in. He's got that crescendo available if needs be, but the turret already hit down to less than half.
And here comes Reckless from the middle lane. He's coming up through this tri-bush, and here's the taunt on him, sir.
Yeah, they're going to go for this one. It's Super Ace that's the focus. Crescendo comes across, but the spray and pray absolutely ripping through them in this one. 760 going to be coming back to life, but the hook will pretty much render him completely useless as Celiva comes on the side. He's now ripping through. Youngbuck going to fall low from this one. Couldn't quite get the taunt through the wall, and in the end it'll be a 3-2, but still in favor of the Wolves.
Yeah, and that was just the damage coming out of Reckless early on. I mean, he's 2-0-1 now after that fight. He has a lot of farm. As we see here at bottom, Coutard's going to go head-to-head against Overpower, and you see the shockwave, but like you said before, it does really not any damage to him, and because of Cassim, because you have the blue, you're just able to chase and chase and chase, and Overpower's forced to flash, but it's just not enough against a Cassim.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous stuff, and obviously that was the kill that when I said 3-2, I was like, where did Overpower die? Obviously that little fight there, down in the bottom lane, a 1 versus 1, which is just went out by that Kassadin, and he's only going to be doing more as things goes on. This is Celiva taking the Q from Lee Sin. We are going to be seeing that teleport coming from the top side. Home guards on Coutard. That is a dead Celiva. Nothing that they can do about that one. Coutard making it count again. I'm
seeing deja vu right now. I'm having deja vu because he did this exactly last game into the bottom lane to kill Solivar and Super Ace with their exact same lineup, and you can't let him do that. I mean, obviously at this point you cannot really afford an Oracle if you're a Super Ace. You can't really clear out every single thing across the map, but it's just really unfortunate. Solivar was the one to really get punished from that, and he's falling very far behind in CS compared to Reckless.
And again, Shook is commanding that same respect as he had in the last game with this Lee Sin as well. We see how scared they are. He's able to zone even Xaxus completely away from thinking about trying to defend his turret there in that top lane. He's really got not that much to work with either, just those couple of Doran's blades that he's running from that one with his Sightstone in there as well, and he's able to completely bully them this game around. And Yorick, who has not been present all that much, yes, those last couple of fights he's got in there, managed to get his ulti off, which in the end didn't count for too much, but he's actually fallen behind against a Lee Sin who's been present in pretty much everything that's happened right now for the Wolves.
Yeah, and it's just, what is KMT going to do to respond to it? I mean, they took the first dragon earlier on in the game. Second one's been up for a little bit, and yet they haven't really been able to necessarily go for it because of the pressure that Copenhagen Wolves are putting across the map. And the Wolves are sticking to the exact same thing they did last time. Youngbuck's going to go split push by himself. He's going to try to draw someone from KMT towards that top side, and when that happens, they're going to take an objective.
One great thing there, again, the pressure from Lee Sin landing his Q on the blue buff forced 760 to actually be taking that one away, which is not a terrible thing, but they probably wanted Orianna to have, who's not had a blue buff there so far much in this game. Anyway, we are seeing that dragon being started off down to less than half HP. Can they pick this one up? Lee Sin gonna go in, manages to get a steal. There's a shockwave coming down. Shook gonna fall in that one as well as a crescendo comes across, but Zazas, he's a dead man now. Reckless is gonna be starting to rip through the rest of the team. Overpowered down to half HP as Celiva is gonna join in. The slow coming across. Celiva going very low. Here comes Cassidy in as well. Reckless gonna have the damage here, but the kill on towards Celiva. He is now on a rampage, and Overpower's not gonna escape. Did get a kill there at the end, but a double kill coming out for Reckless, and overall a 4 for 2 plus the dragon steal from the Wolves.
And you just saw where all of KMT's focus was in that fight. It was on Shook, it was on Unlimited, it was on Coutard, on Youngbuck, and Reckless was not harassed really at all during that. And that's the person you have to shut down with that spray and pray. I mean, obviously you need to kill Coutard, but Shook, he's not going to be that impactful in fights besides kicking one of your members out into the middle of the team. And that's just, it's unfortunate, it's really bad focus. And from that, 4 deaths, 1 dragon, 1 turret. They just got a commanding gold lead off of that.
Brilliant stuff, and very similar to how it kind of went in that last game as well. Certainly building up slowly, but surely is the point for the Wolves here. Reckless 5-0-2. Coutard certainly got things swinging a little bit faster in this one as well, up at 3-0-5. Yeah, he's actually got kills. This time Youngbuck has only got 1 of them, but 6 assists. Already got that Sunfire Cave, of course. Now added in that Renderings Omen on top of.
And you can see that Youngbuck's directly responding in terms of his item build, how this game's going. Last time he had a Spirit Visage, he had a Sunfire Cape as his first 2 buys, but he notices that Celivar, he hurts that Blade of the Rune King, that Zeal. So he built that Renderings Omen. He knows that Overpower's been shut down this game, sitting at 1-3-1 with 134 farm. All he has on Deeds of Holy Grail, and he realizes he's not much of a threat, so I don't need to worry about him.
I mean, it's still obviously got that control of the Shockwave in there, but it's not got that scary burst that you need out of the Orianna to, you know, people realize they're going to get hit by it if they're positioned wrongly, but they don't often expect exactly how much damage comes down. He was Coutard, but he might have thought about jumping over there to have a go at Zazas, but they're positioned quite aggressively here, the Wolves. They are going to wait right inside of this bush. Going to be checked there by 760. Are they going to go for a fight with this one? See the lantern put down, and Reckless says, yep, I'll take that. Get myself over towards the front of the Baron pit and not on my own here at the back.
Coutard's been sitting in that pit, pinging that ward this entire time because obviously Unlimited did walk away with that Oracle, but they're finally able to clear it out. Another one gets replaced, and they're trying to apply this pressure because look at his bottom lane. Look at Youngbuck. He's just pushing that turret down, and this is exactly what they did last game.
What are they going to do here to try and stop this KMT? This middle outer turret is at full HP right now. Coutard has just rift walked in towards that backside of things. The damage pushing the KMT side a little bit further back from this one, and someone's got to respond to Youngbuck here.
And the only person that can do that is Celivar, and the thing is he needs to be in these fights. He has a huge portion of their damage, and now the Copenhagen Wolves are going to chase them down. They're going to stop them from being able to back and stop Youngbuck. I think he'll get a turret for free off of this.
He is going to get this turret for free, surely. You can see they're already down to way below half health. Orianna finally coming over there as they realize that that fight isn't going to happen. And honestly, Youngbuck probably isn't that much scared of Overpower now. He's got that needlessly large rod in there finally as Overpower, so he's at least got some damage to back things up.
The thing is, Youngbuck, he could have taken that turret easily just by attacking the entire time, but he wants to still be that. He wants to be there to apply that pressure. He doesn't want to get taken too low because he wants to be able to ult into the fight. He wants to be able to survive if anyone does go for a fight on top of him. But here's the engage, and Zazas gets pulled.
Yeah, spray and pray going down. The box will join in there as well. Coutard on that backside of things. Shen going to get involved. He's coming right into the middle. There is the crescendo across, but honestly, is it going to do that much? The shockwave caught 3 of them at the back there as Youngbuck is going to go down. 760 is dead, but he's ulted himself. Sullivan needs to be careful because Coutard is sniffing around for more damage from this one. Gonna get slowed down by 760, but honestly, he's not going to last long enough to actually be able to pick up a kill. In the end, the Copenhagen Wolves back off somewhat, and he ends with a 1-for-1.
And that fight actually went very well for KMT considering how far they are behind. I mean, Kobe mentioned over the analysis test just previously that fighting in these enclosed areas work out really well for KMT. They weren't able to get any of those fights last time, but here, with that Renekton ultimate coming in, with the AoE damage, or the splash damage off of Yorick, with the AoE damage off of Vayne, and not to mention the crescendo, which is really impossible to miss in an area like that, they were able to take a kill, but still the Wolves were able to punish them. With this mobility of Kassadin, he got to that bottom lane, he got that turret down.
Finally taken out after Youngbuck did so much damage to it earlier, but was unable to finish things off. Let's have a look at the goal. 6,100 is basically what we're sat at right now, the difference between the two, which I don't want to say not masters, because we're only 25 minutes into this game. That's somewhat deceptive. I mean, it is, percentage-wise, a big chunk of gold in the lead.
And we're seeing with the gold totals right now on each champion the same thing we saw last game. I mean, Coutard Reckless so far ahead of their counter-opponent, and they were at 11,000 gold at some point in the game to their opponents about 8,000 to 9,000. Like, they had a clear full item over them, and can't really afford to do that as KMT. I mean, obviously as a Vayne, it doesn't hurt you as much, but your pressure kind of becomes diminished when you don't have these items. And right now, Zazas might face check.
Yes, he is going to face check. Luckily for him, though, he's pretty tanky, able to really survive through that. If that was Super Ace face checking, he'd be a dead man right now. Luckily for him, that's not what happened. Using the tanky Renekton to do the dirty work for you. Youngbuck has pushed up this top lane once again. He's doing what Shen does best here this entire game and that last game as well. Forcing the pressure on the side lanes while the rest of his team are able to set up traps or push other objectives.
Yeah, and if he just keeps doing that, they're going to slowly whittle down KMT, and they need to make some sort of big response. They either need to go for a 5-on-4 fight and hopefully kill the person that Youngbuck's trying to ult onto, but then again, if that happens, then he's going to be able to split push continually, so maybe not, or maybe let him go through before that. Right now, KMT, they have to have an answer somewhat, and I'm not sure if they even know what to do yet.
Yeah, and overpowered shockwave in that last fight, we should talk about it because it was well placed right on the back onto the likes of Reckless and Unlimited. But in the end, there was no damage to follow that one up. No one else could get into the backside of them to really continue that trend, so they were still able to hammer away. Dragon going to be picked up here by the Copenhagen Wolves, and they all head out there. I mean, Lee Sin, Kassadin, plus that threshing, you can escape with a lot of people very quickly.
Now Wolves, it looks like they're trying to go for an engage here, but they do get the pull on the Zazas here, but are they going to commit?
I don't think that they are. I mean, Thresh decides not to follow that one through. Not the man really that you want to pull out of the team, if anyone, for KMT. So they decide against following in. Copenhagen Wolves, though, most definitely in the driving seat for this one. 7,000 gold pretty much is now the lead that they have. The red buff here is going to be not quite stolen there. Shook was very close, but it was Selva that got it. There's a hook on Yorick. Again, not following off.
I think the problem KMT's having in these team fights is the fact that you have two high priority targets they need to take care of, Cassid and Twitch. But their CC, they're very limited on what they have. I mean, yeah, you have the Orianna ultimate, which can pull people in, but all you have is like a Shendo and then a stun out of Renekton and maybe a Condemn. And to be able to hit those two targets around the same time, to be able to burst one down in time before your whole team's dead, it's a very short window.
Not a window that they've really been able to find. I mean, that last fight, 1-for-1, not bad at all.
But the thing was, Reckless, full health out of the end of that fight.
Yeah.
He wasn't touched, and the thing is, KMT has to be able to do something about that. With that Infinity Edge, Blade of the Rune King finish, with more or some attack speed coming in behind that, he's going to shred through the entirety of KMT, who really hasn't built any armor except Zazas.
Oh, here we go. This is going to be the stealth of Twitch coming down. Shen going to get involved. There's a taunt coming in. Selva dead. Really nice catch out. Are they going to be able to get 760 as well? Actually, we have seen the ultimate going on to Selva just by the end. There's the hook. That's going to render him pretty much useless until that ultimate runs out. He almost got Reckless there at the end. Here comes the rest of the KMT side as well. Shook and Coutard damaging them from the backside, but I think the Wolves going to back away with how low Reckless went.
Yeah, that was still a good hold by them, even though Selvar did die. He was almost able to kill Reckless if he just maybe got one more auto attack, but now KMT forced to defend this turret with 4 people. They're already missing a lot of health, missing a lot of mana. In the meantime, Copenhagen Wolves are like, all right, we all have abilities to get over this wall. We're just going to take this Baron very quickly.
Yeah, there's the hook in, and they're going to throw the lantern out. No, not quite. He could have done that in style there if Reckless would have come in from the backside, but that's not going to happen. But they are going to be doing this Baron. KMT going to work themselves around. They're spotted by that ward on the backside. Baron here going very low, going to be picked up by the Wolves. They're going to dive in for the fight. They all pile on towards 760. That will be the first kill for them, as Coutard is now unstoppable. They go then onto the top side to Zazas, who himself will just flash back over the other side, but he's going to get hooked up here. Reckless will be able to do enough damage, surely, to finish off this one, as Coutard comes around the side as well. Overpower going to go down here in the end. It's Shook that picks that one up. They did finish off Zazas. Selva is still alive though. He's going to be a priority target as Lee Sin goes in, comes back out once again. Unlimited flashes through with the flay. Is Coutard going to follow on to this one? He is going to follow on. Barrier going to be used. There is Youngbuck coming in as well, and they may possibly even get another one from this, as Youngbuck going to go underneath the tower here on towards Unlimited. Actually, they decide, you know what, we should probably back away from this one not going to risk that play and fall back onto that inner turret in the mid lane. But what a move there coming out of the Wolves.
And it showed their confidence, diving past 2 turrets. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, the Wolves, they took the Baron and they just waited. They waited for that moment to strike, then they all went over that wall and were able to get those 3 kills. And they're going to get Inhibitor off this very easily. Not to mention, you can be able to back with a lot of gold.
Yeah, the rest of the KMT side are going to be spawning in here very soon, so not a chance for the Wolves to actually finish off the game at this point of it. But let's have a look how much gold they're actually carrying after that. Getting a lot of kills. Yeah, 3,000 gold for Reckless, 2.5k for Shen, 2,000 for Lee Sin, 1,200 gold even there on the Thresh to go home and spend. Yeah,
so they pretty much can back and buy a full item, or at least complete an item that they've been working towards. And when you're Reckless, you got to be so happy about that, because that means, which looks like right now, a Phantom Dancer coming in, or maybe a Static Shiv, or even a Last Whisper, which he doesn't necessarily need just
or
yet.
A Phantom Dancer.
Or he goes with that, yeah. Or he's already working towards his Last Whisper. Like I said before, there's not a lot of aura in KMT right now, so he can bypass that item early on.
So, big pickups here. After makings of that Rabadon's Death Cap, obviously Zerasin Base, Rod of Ages already done here for Kassadin. And Coutard, who, you know, he had a great game last game as well, but this time around he's actually been allowed to finish off the kills. 5-1-7. The only time that he's died obviously was just a little bit earlier on when he went possibly a little bit too deep going under the turrets against everyone. But it's Reckless again, a man who gets pointed out every single time that the Copenhagen Wolves play someone as being the man to focus. 7-0-4, and that's why he is the man to focus.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still amazed that Kassadin kind of got through with Coutard. I mean, he went 14-1 yesterday. He had a brilliant game 1. He's having a brilliant game 2. I mean, that's kind of the champion you needed to take away from him. Like, would you let Expeke take Kassadin? Probably not.
Well, a lot of people do, somehow.
Somehow they still do.
Somehow that Kassadin is going to still get through. And that's what I said after that last game, you know, is that going to draw them a ban? KMT obviously deciding, no, we're not going to ban that one out, which is kind of funny, because if they've taken that Kassadin away from him, they had last pick as well, so they could have gone with whoever they wanted then against someone that is probably not as impactful there as that Kassadin, but they'd already banned that Twisted Fate out, so maybe felt like priorities were different. I mean, they banned out Zac, which, for me, I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why they switched from Lee Sin to Zac, because I think this Lee Sin from Shook has been even more impressive than his Jarvan in that last game.
I definitely agree with that one. I mean, we do know Youngbuck can play him, but why would you play him when he's doing so good on Shen these past 2 games? He even has a Frozen Heart built in. He has the ability to slow the attack speed off of Celavar. When he gets near him, he's actually sitting at 340 armor right now. That is not bad. That is going to be very hard for Celavar to eat through, especially without a Last Whisper.
So KMT trying to defend here on that middle, on that top inhibitor turret. Obviously middle lane is already down, and the Copenhagen Wolves pushing straight through. We've got Youngbuck pushing down the bottom lane, as you can see there in the bottom left hand corner side of your screen, and that will be that turret going down. Nothing that KMT can really do about this one. Lee Sin actually joining him now from the bottom side, and this is interesting. The Wolves actually all swinging around onto that bottom side of the map here to take the inhibitor.
Yeah, they're going to try to close out this last inhibitor and potentially the gate.
Yeah, Shen going through there. They've managed to lock up Celavar, who's going to pop his ultimate, the crescendo, stopping them getting involved, but look at the damage coming out there. Reckless now picking up another kill. He flashes in for the double. Can he finish off Super Ace? Overpower goes down. Didn't quite finish off the shockwave before he died. There is the kill on Tavane. A triple coming down for Reckless. The Wolves could finish it here.
And it looks like they'll be able to. The inhibitor going with these death timers, 40 seconds on each person. They're going to finish this off, and Shook with an amazing kick. He actually knocked 760 into the rest of his team before he could ult Vayne. And because of that, that's why that fight was so one-sided.
Such an amazing game once again from the Copenhagen Wolves, and they were the big favorites coming into this game once again, and they are going to win that position in the spring promotional tournament. Their dreams of becoming an LCS team very much alive right now.
And I think right now they got to be very happy with themselves, but also a little bit worried, because they already know this is Reckless's last game with them. They have to find a new AD carry, train him in the amount of time they have, and hopefully be able to perform against some of the, well, I would say the top teams, but they're still, like SK and Futuremaker, still phenomenal teams, even though they're at the bottom of the standings and in that relegation.
And I've got a little bit of bad news for the Wolves as well. You're probably not going to find an AD carry like Reckless very easily. I mean, this is a guy who not old enough yet to play in the LCS itself. Only going to turn that 17 years of age when it comes to the World Championships. But they've done the real hard work, which was actually working through the season, staying together, which is always a tough thing to do, and getting themselves towards that promotion tournament. So they've got the time now to train in there. Got to feel as well for KMT. They've had a good showing here this weekend, but good wasn't enough for them in the end.
Yeah, I mean, you need something better than good. And we talked about it earlier with their game yesterday versus AT Gaming, or their 2 games, that they played well, but they just didn't seem to have that extra aggression factor that they kind of needed to close out the games a little bit earlier, or at least to be able to take out some of these other teams. And it was really reflected in this game. Like, their bans, we both just talked about, weren't that smart, considering there's a cast and you let them get through again. We saw Kautar just dominate with it, and they just weren't able to shut down anyone on the Wolves.
Let's talk about the special tactic that we heard from them. Yorick in the jungle. Hit or miss?
Swung wide. Definitely swung wide. That was definitely a miss. I mean, I saw what they were going for. I saw the potential in it, but they just didn't pull it off. I mean, the ult on Vayne is very strong if Silvar can have a strong early game, which didn't really get mitigated. He really got a lot of farms, so it really didn't matter for him, but there was not a lot of early objective taken. They got the first dragon, but they took it, I'd say, I guess, a little bit late when you have the ability to put those ghouls down if he does get that blue buff, since he was going to be, well, since we had Orianna bottom, he had the ability to take the blue. It's just, I saw the potential, it just didn't seem to work out. Maybe they haven't ironed out all the quirks in it.
Yeah, I think a lack of real hard CC and engage when it comes to those ganks. We saw him in the early game coming in there. Yes, you got the slow from the ghouls, but it's just not enough to lock someone like a Shen down. Like, you need more than that. You need to be able to actually stun him up there for a little while.
And then look at his counteropponent, or his counter person, or Lee Sin. If I could speak, Lee Sin. I mean, you saw the pressure he put on early game. He got that early kill, so he got that sight stone a little bit earlier on. Had the 2 Doran's blades. Like, he put out so much more pressure than York could do, and that really hurt them in the game.
Well, big congratulations once again to the Copenhagen Wolves for the victory. We're going to head over to Kobe and Quickshot to break down the game.
Thank you very much, Joe and Jason, and congratulations to the Copenhagen Wolves. I want to touch on one thing before we start to break down the game. After the victory celebrations, the camera jumped to a shot of the Wolves, and Kautar was just sitting in his chair, nonchalant. He's like, I've been there, guys. You're excited for nothing.
Just give me Cassidy again.
Exactly. And you have to question it. So let's talk a little about the game. Copenhagen Wolves, they basically got the exact same composition. The only thing they changed was the leasing for the Jarvan. And KMT didn't really learn how to deal with it.
So this was pretty much a story of KMT failing to adapt. The onus was not on Copenhagen Wolves to change anything, so obviously they're just going to go back and use what worked for them already. And KMT, it felt like they had this surprise Yorick jungle in their pocket that they really wanted to use no matter what, and it wasn't really an adaptation to what happened in the first game, so it didn't really help them at all. Copenhagen Wolves were not surprised by the surprise Yorick.
Yeah, and Joe and Jason were talking about the impact that Yorick had, and the early ganks that we've seen were less than impactful, to say the least.
It's like the Nasus that they had jungle in the first game. He doesn't have any hard CC, and when you're running against a team with globals, as a jungler, you want to go towards the source of those globals to gank either what would be the Shen or the Kassadin that has his teleport, so that you don't have other people joining your fights. But you can't really do that with either Nasus or Renekton.
So we're going to natural transition now to jumping onto the Kassadin pick. Just before we jump into the replay, Kassadin in this particular matchup managed to come out ahead in CS in the laning phase. And he did it yesterday against Alessandro as well. So first of all, that is a credit to Kautar's play, but we also have to highlight Shook. He spent a fair amount of time in that lane.
So with Lee Sin babysitting him, he was able to not only stay up in CS with Orianna, but also pass her and then kill her down bottom after he had the advantage post Rift Walk.
So after that, all that's happened, let's jump into the replays. Bring this one up on screen. It was actually a tower dive that, you know, Copenhagen Wolves put together. What stands out here?
So this is really just an example I wanted to show of Copenhagen Wolves knowing how to play against this Yorick. They were not surprised by this pick at all. You get in, you kill Vayne, and you get out. So let's roll the clip, and we'll see that they already have 2 champions, Lee Sin and Kassadin, that are great for those tactical missions where you take down your target and then you escape. And they also added Thresh onto that, so that they then have slows where they can all get out, even diving 2 towers deep. They are able to kill their target and then escape.
Yeah, and something that Unlimited actually did a couple of times throughout the course of that game is use that Flay on the retreat. As they were fighting, it was Death Sentence to set it up and Flay to retreat. I want to highlight something that KMT did learn, at least from game 1 to game 2. The decision-making, once they hit that roaming mid-game, was a little better. They didn't throw themselves into too many negative situations and get caught out.
Also, they did a good job this time forcing the fights around Dragon. They got the first Dragon because they had the man advantage, and they just timed it well. And the second one, they had the right idea, but it didn't pan out because Shen Stand United was up for the second.
Well, let's actually pull that replay up for you. Once again, it is, of course, KMT starting off this Dragon Pit, and the Wolves, well, they're all over the place.
Like we said, the first Dragon was really well played by KMT because Shen had used his Stand United to try and save Kassadin bottom, so it wasn't up for that Dragon, and they couldn't contest. This time around, it is up. So let's roll a clip, and we'll see how, again, they use their globals to control the objectives on the map. Shook is the one that gets ultied here, and Kate, they almost burst him down. So if they had been able to do that and deny Shen coming into the fight, then it would have been fine, because this is actually a very close team fight here. You can see Reckless is the only one with enough health to continue to go offensive here, and it's very dangerous for both Youngbuck and Kowtower to stay around, but Reckless is enough damage. That's all they need, the double buff twitch. They cleaned that one up, and Shook had a beautiful Dragon Steal right there on Lee Sin, dashing in at the perfect time.
So not only do they get away with all the extra kills, they get all the juicy gold as well to wrap it up. So 2-0 for the Copenhagen Wolves. They claim that spot in the spring promotion tournament and looking to confirm their place back in the LCS, because the Wolves were there, but with different
The organization was there. Kowtower's been there too, so well-deserved win for Copenhagen Wolves.
Well, congratulations to them. Guys, we do have to take a quick break, but when we return, Sharks will be joined by the Copenhagen Wolves Unlimited to talk about their victories. Then we